Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have another writing tag for you. I'm going to be pumping out a load of these because these are quite fun. But same as last time, I'll be putting the questions up on the screen, and the original video, I'll try and tag that down below, and where I got this inspired sort of tag from, I'll tag those two videos down below as well, so you guys can check them out. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to jump straight into it. I tend to make copious amounts of tea. I'm a herbal tea drinker, a tea infuser person. I don't like dairy products because I can't have those, so I tend to drink teas that don't require milk. And if I don't have a cup next to me, I usually used to have a teapot, but now I'm living in Canada, I don't have a teapot at the moment. So that's gonna be one of my next investments. Hopefully in the next few weeks, I can get a new teapot and then I can just have constant top-ups of all my favorite teas from David's Tea. But as far as food is concerned, I just eat finger snacks that I can just sort of put in my mouth as and when, but more than anything, I'm just drinking tea. More often than not, I'm listening to the playlists that I've set up for each of my novels, or when I'm writing poetry, I tend not to listen to anything, but I will sometimes listen to excerpts of Howl by Allen Ginsberg just playing in the background, whether it's him doing his own reading from a video, which I'll link down below for anyone who's interested, or from the film adaptation of that particular poem. I like the rhythmic aspect, the sort of the spiritual praying aspect, because in a way when you listen to Howl, you can't help but rock forward and backwards because you're, I guess, I don't know, I don't want to go into like the Jewish aspect of too much because it might confuse a lot of people, but there's something rhythmic about connecting both mentally, psychologically and spiritually with the tone of a poem and what the poem is actually saying. So I always looked at Howl as like a modern psalm of some kind. So I like that aspect. So I like kind of getting into the rhythm and reminding myself why poetry is so important. Nothing really. I don't know if you managed to catch my dog just then. She loves to just walk around, and then she'll come over and she'll sort of stare at me. And then as soon as I notice what she's doing, she'll then quickly flip around and be like, come on, scratch my butt. So it's like, she's just a really cute distraction. Other times, my husband's pretty good. Like, he doesn't distract me or anything. He kind of just lets me crack on and he'll go off and do his own writing, or he'll be working on something else. I'm not very easily distracted because once I'm in the zone, I'm in the zone. Like nothing exists outside of the zone. So once I'm in the zone, that's it. I will be there for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, however long it takes me to finalize that particular scene or that chapter or editing those particular chapters together. Once I'm in the zone, that's it. Nothing exists, not even the phone. Nothing yet, touch wood. Other than when inspiration just randomly decides that she's done with me for the day and she just wants to go and I can't think of anything else to write next. Nothing so far. Fingers crossed. Actually completing the work. I think that's probably the main best thing that's ever happened. I mean, there's a lot of different things I could say are the best things that have happened to me, but actually coming to the end of a piece of writing that I've been working on for a while, and then I've edited it and I finished it, and then I can close the document and it's like, I finished. That was basically what I went through when I first wrote my first book, because I was sending all of my essays to my co-author. So when I finalized that last essay and then sent it to him, and then he wrote back and was like, thanks, I've got it, I'm adding it, I'm editing it, I'm sorting it out. I was like, this is so exciting. So yeah, I think that's probably the best thing. I think the idea of just being able to finish chapters, which brings about a certain sense of excitement for you, and then actually then editing them once, twice, 3 times, and then being able to close that final document. That is like the ultimate goal, as far as like wanting all the best things to happen to you. But I think that's probably my best thing. This one's a bit of a weird one to answer, because from the other videos that I've seen, most people say things like, oh, I talk on the phone, or I'm talking on Twitter and things like that. And for me, that's just the ordinary stuff that I do at the same time anyway. If I'm not exactly in 100% of the zone, I will have maybe 75% of my focus on that particular scene and that story, and then I will regularly take breaks to make tea and whatnot, and then I can sort of like tweet and like get blog posts ready or chat with people, or I'll be messaging my husband if he's not home, my boyfriend, sorry, if he's not home. I don't really communicate with anybody, but, and this is the slightly weird aspect, I did sort of mention very briefly in my previous writer tag that I am a practicing esotericist, a practicing occultist. And I'm very much one of those people that if I feel like I'm stuck in a rut, I do like a little prayer of sorts, and basically just asking the muses to just come to me and just help me out with something. And 9 times out of 10, they do. I light a particular candle that I've consecrated and energized for that particular working, and it genuinely feels really nice and just warming, and I'm able to just write when I feel like the muses are touching my shoulder. So I know that sounds really hokey, but I guess it's kind of the same for most people who happen to be Christians. They can just sort of pray to God or ask their personal guardian angel for help, and then that will happen. It's the same sort of thing for me. I just happen to call them muses. So yeah, I'm weird. Secret to success and biggest writing goal. Biggest writing goal, getting all of my projects finished and then getting them out there into the world so that people can experience them and then rip them apart and let me know what they thought. The idea of success, again, it's the same as goal, just being driven and then just sort of being stubborn with yourself and saying, no, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna finish it no matter what. I need to get this finished. If there are days where I feel too depressed to do anything, I will at least whip out my phone and try and write a line of poetry. And that usually gets me writing an entire poem that I can then edit later on. Other times, if I'm feeling lazy and everything's kind of good, I'm feeling kind of happy, but I just don't want to write, again, I will force myself to try and write something. And if I'm not writing something, I have to read a page from a book, or at least read a book, because I have to make sure that I'm constantly creative as often as possible, because I'm inspired by so much so quickly. So in order to stay within that creative frame of mind, I have to constantly be creating or taking part of something that is creative. So that's my main sort of reasons for why I'm trying to get to my biggest goals and trying to finish my own stories and projects and getting them out there. I constantly just have to be working at them. Anything inspires me. I did a writing journal a little while ago where I was walking through a forest and I took you guys down to the beach very, very briefly without much of an explanation. I'm inspired by a lot of things, whether it's from people watching, walking in nature, reading passages, listening to music, reading other people's words, or just scrolling through Twitter and coming across someone who's got a really cool sounding first name. I immediately add that to my master list of names. I'm just inspired by a lot of things. My brain is just constantly going. That's a problem that I've had, I think, since I was like really, really small. Like I was constantly being tested for whether I had autism or ADHD or anything like that. They were just like, she's just too erratic to be able to concentrate on one thing. But I think ultimately it just comes down to the fact that I'm just a very creative and easily inspired person. So my mind is just constantly going like all the time. As far as being productive, like I said in the last question, I constantly have to be doing something with my mind or with my thoughts, or trying to be more creative with more things, or just reading, or even if it means taking time out just to listen to a podcast. If I'm not doing any of that stuff, then I'm writing. And if I'm not writing, I'm doing that stuff. So being productive is just a way that I can get my mind to relax. It's just a part of who I am. It's just something that I have to do. I don't know. And I'm trying to be like sort of broad with this, whether it's people who are new to writing, like myself, or people who are already established. I don't really know. I think an annoying thing that writers do, I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to really think about that one. I should have thought about this before I did the video, but I genuinely don't know right now. Other than putting themselves down or putting down other writers, I think that's about it. Other than that, I don't know. Just don't be negative. Done in a way already. Obviously I've got 2 books out. One's a poetry collection, one is a co-authored essay collection, which I'm very, very proud of, both books. So I'll put the links to those down below so you guys can check them out. But as far as my novels are concerned, no, not yet, because they're in a state where they are literal trash, and I'm still working on trying to just get every single chapter written up, completed, laid out in some sort of form so they're ready for the first rounds of editing, even though I'm kind of editing them as I go. It's just a habit that I have. Not yet. But as far as my poetry, yes, by all means I'll be sharing my poetry, doing the odd poetry reading here on the channel as well, but no, not yet. They're nowhere near ready yet, and I'm still in 2 minds about whether I'm going to go traditional, try and go traditional with my novels and then use my real name or my pen name. I'm not sure just yet, or if I'm going to publish them myself, purely because of the characterizations being that at least 4 of the projects that I'm working on, they're all set in the same city, but the main aspect of most of the characters in those stories is that they're all witches, and it's also leaning into sort of like urban fantasy and horror. And I know right now, as far as the market is concerned, even though I'm not writing YA, witches and urban fantasy, they aren't really selling at the moment. So that's kind of made me sort of pause with my writing a little bit, because I'm just really nervous about writing all these stories and then they won't actually sell when it comes to trying to pitch them to a traditional publisher. So at the moment, no. But I want to get them finished anyway, because at least if I've got them finished, I'll feel good. But I don't know, I'm still sort of in 2 minds about what I'm gonna do with those particular stories now, because I'm kind of stuck. But I guess that's just writing for you. Thank you all for watching my video. That was quite long, but it was good fun. It was long, but kind of good fun. I did try to cut out the academic aspect, because I know not many people are really into the academic stuff, but ultimately this is what I kind of want to start adding and including into more of my future videos, which is more of the academic stuff. But anyway, I thought that was a lot of fun. I wasn't tagged by anybody, same as the last video, so I'm just tagging everybody and anybody, and I would love to see your responses. Again, if you like this content, then by all means, please leave questions down below, because I would love to answer questions from you guys in a separate video or something. But yeah, I'll let you guys get back to your day. Have a wonderful time and enjoy the nice autumn that's coming around. It's a nice autumn breeze. Bye.